Hello, you're listening to the Shetland Times podcast, and I'm your host, Mariolaine, and today I'm joined by Margaret Robertson. Hi.
Hi, Mariolaine. Good to see you.
You too. I've so far just been interviewing everyone I know.
Well, it's that
And speaking to you today, because I'm still on location in Edinburgh at the Fringe, but today is all about the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
Yes, and we're here. We've just nearly at the end of our second week and just about to get a new cohort of Shetlanders doing at the weekend on Sunday and start all over again for weeks 3 and 4.
That's amazing. So this is the fourth summer.
Yes, it's the fourth. Yes, yeah. 2014 was the first one, and we just thought we would have just that very first one, and that would be it. We would be kind of one-off act. And then, much to my surprise, when the Brigadier David Allfrey, who was the chief producer of the show, when he came to Shetland in January of 2015 to see up Hjaltibonhoga, he announced then that I would be delighted to kind that there was plenty of fiddle music on the 2015 show, and that was the first we knew we were actually going back. And for there, we were invited to the overseas tattoo at Melbourne and Wellington in February of 16, and at that point he asked me if we would commit to the next 10 years, so here we are.
10 years, wow. So this is year 2 of 10 years?
It will be, yes.
Yeah, wow, that's great. So how did, just for anyone who's listening, and for anyone who doesn't know about the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, it's this, there's ones all over the world, but Edinburgh's the first.
Edinburgh is the longest run. It's 25 shows here, so and it's the one. It's such a setting to have Edinburgh Castle as your backdrop to your performance area, and it is the tattoo that folk want to be on. It's kind of certainly looked on as the top tattoo. Yeah.
And how did you first get approached about playing in the tattoo?
Well, it's again just one of those things. It's a initiative again. Brigadier David Allfrey, he'd come to Shetland back in 2011, looking for pipers because he realised that their new initiative, the Pipers Trail, where they invite pipers that are individuals worldwide that can come together here as a file in the mass pipes and drums. He realised that there was actually poor representation for Scotland, and he was going to basically trawl through the different counties of Scotland to find pipers, to have more nationals rather as all be international. So he'd come to Shetland looking for pipers, and of course didn't find so many of them, but was in the lounge and saw this very energetic fiddle playing going on and thought, hang on, that's an energy I would love to have on the show. So he, through friends and friends and friends of friends, we got contacted. I say we because it was all instructors working at that time for Shetland Islands Council, teaching fiddle in the schools. We got approached by our folk festival. They had been contacted by the production team here at the tattoo, and we were approached through the folk festival, was anybody interested in this tattoo performance? And so, quite naively, myself and Pauline Waxman said, yeah, that'd be nice for our school bands. We could do a weekend in Edinburgh, that'd be fine, kind of thing. We got together, we thought, yeah, we could take some bairns away and we could do this, which we honestly believed it was just a kind of bolt-on concert, but entertainment kind of thing. The actual thought of it being the tattoo didn't register. But two of the production team, Clara Whelan and Steve Walsh, came to Shetland a couple of months later, and that's when the penny dropped. They took us, came and saw the school band I had at the time, saw them rehearse, met with me and Pauline that night, and it became very apparent it was the full show. So it was more a case of sitting back down and thinking, what have we just done? And how are we going to do this? Because I've seen the highlights of the tattoo on the telly, but had never been to the tattoo, thinking really anything about it. So I ended up coming down to see a day's rehearsals at Redford Barracks and the preview show for the 2013 show.
Wow.
And, well, it was just such a mixed emotion because it was fear, it was honour, it was all these things going through your mind, and watching this military bands and hearing the standard of music, the standard of marching and formation, it was just actually quite overwhelming. At Redford Barracks that day, I came in standing there thinking, don't cry, Margaret, you'll cope. It really was quite overwhelming just to see the volume of people and the volume of the music, because by the time you get to the finale you're speaking in the regions. I mean, your backing band is about 1,000 folk. You've got mass pipes and drums, you've got all the military brass bands, the house band, a choir, it's massive, absolutely massive, and the sheer magnitude was just quite something. And of course that day, standing there in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, kind of trying to blend in with the crew at Redford Barracks, the next I came, is this man coming up to me and saying, "I know who you are." And it was Brigadier David Allfrey. We had never met. And of course then he took me up to the officers' mess to meet the Lord Provost of Edinburgh, and I'm thinking I could have been better dressed for this. But that was the 13th show, and I literally did not sleep that night. I was already thinking, right, formations, what could we do? How many do we need? How can we do this?
How can we make fiddle players march?
Fiddle players sit down and play. That's it. So how can we change that completely? So we did. I've sort of kind of quite funny looking how things have changed. In 2014, when we started putting out invitations to fiddlers, literally we three of us got together and made a list of as many fiddle players as we could think of. And when we put out the letters of invitation, there was a lot of disinterest because folk didn't actually ken what this was. Now, I had been and seen, and I just couldn't. I was thinking, what an opportunity!
Yeah.
Such a absolutely amazing show. What a backdrop! The castle, the stadium itself, the atmosphere. This is such a publicity for Shetland. We've got to try and do this.
Yeah.
But we started putting it in letters of invitation in the January. And we managed to get all the places filled to have 40 fiddlers on the Esplanade every night by about May.
Yeah.
It took us that long to do it.
I think I was one of the last to come in.
May well have been.
Because Dad and I watch the tattoo every year. We watch a highlights video, we love it. And when I was living in Amsterdam at the time, my dad phoned me and he's like, "I know you're in Amsterdam, but you have to apply for this. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity."
Yes.
But I thought I'd be in Holland, and as soon as I knew I was coming home, I phoned you and I was like, "I'm going to be home this summer."
Yeah.
Can I play?
Excellent. The thing is, that first year, I really had to be gracious and take whatever folk could give me in terms of time, because you're asking folk to give up their time, either holidays or on no pay or time in lieu or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's an amateur band. It's a voluntary band. It's not a professional military employed band, which is what most of the other groups that appear on the tattoo actually are.
Yeah.
So I mean, we actually, in order to have 40 folk on the field for 25 shows in 2014, we had 97 fiddle players took part. So it was the most amazing patchwork quilt to put together, and really hard work actually, because it meant that every weekend there were some changes. So we'd have to rehearse again.
Yeah.
Whereas the other bands, Sunday's your day off, they could be swanning around doing anything they wanted. Well, we were back at it. We were having to work with the new folk that had arrived to get them up to speed, because the castle's open to the public every day, and you can only get to the castle at night. And for them arriving on a Sunday, the first week you go to the castle was in time for the show on Monday. So they had to gain it. They had to gain where they were standing, what their actually formation moves were, and things like that. So 2014 was a lot of hard work. But the difference between tacking the months from January to May to fill the places, the change in 2015 when the Brigadier came up for Uphellia, and I panicked because I thought, hang on, by this time we already had names on paper, we have nothing. We've absolutely nothing. We didn't have a clue we were going. Folk will have been starting to think about what their summer plans are, kind of thing.
And book things.
So I put out an email literally on the Wednesday, day after Uphellia. I put out an email, and it took me a week to fill the places.
Yeah, no, I was the full month that time.
Yeah.
I want the whole thing.
It was just simply a case of what had happened was that folk came away, had experienced what I had experienced in 2013, and then couldn't wait to come back.
Yeah.
So we had absolutely no effort whatsoever in filling the 2015 places. And to be fair, it's kind of gone on like that. We've really no struggled to fill the places. The only struggle we would have is the fact that we're getting involved in more and more and more, due to being now branded as part of the tattoo.
Yes. How's it changed? Because I suppose 2014 was just like, I remember being at home and having emails from you guys as well, being like, this is rehearsals week, this is what we're going through. Mm-hmm. And like you say, we had to rehearse on our weekends because we swapped over every week, and even if you'd done it the week before, your place might change in the formation next week. So how's it been this year? Have you found it just like for rehearsals and, I was going to say manoeuvres, I should remember this, formations? Is it more straightforward?
I think because now this will be the 5th tattoo we're taking part in, if you think about the Melbourne Wellington one as well. I suppose for my part, I'm getting to understand better about what we need to do. I mean, when we came in 2014 and we were being bombarded with stuff like, you'll be entering for the coal yard, you'll be entering for the North Entry, I didn't know what they were speaking about. I mean, you're speaking about going to a stadium and you've not actually been in the stadium for the working end of things. I've walked up through the stadium a couple of times going to the castle as a tourist, but I've never had to understand how the stadium actually, how it works in terms of a performer. So that element, all that questions has gone now. 2014 was hard work in every element, because we didn't ken the situation with Pollock Halls and where we were staying. Folk would be asking you questions and you didn't ken the answer, you would just be going and finding out, and it was a lot of work in every aspect of the trip, whereas now we ken a lot of that answers. It's rare that we have to go and find something out because we've been before. But, and again, for my part, I'm learning better how to deal with what we play, what's going to work, what's comfortable, how to arrange that, how to arrange formations that will be quickly accessible to everybody, working out if there's somebody that's really if you want somebody that's a good dancer and is able to actually move elegantly while they play, give them the position that has most movement in it. It's just learning the folk, learning the situation, and just getting to be more understanding of it.
And this year was even bigger spectacle for Shetland.
This is our biggest one yet, and I'm really questioning how and if we could ever top what we're doing this year.
Can you describe what we're doing? Are you allowed to describe what we're doing?
Yes,
okay,
it's all out there now.
Okay.
we're well into it now, and of course it's across social media what we're actually doing. But the show this year is, the overtitle is Splashes of Tartan, and the splashes is the sea that surrounds Scotland and how that sea has influenced the nation, and the tartan being the clans of Scotland.
Yeah.
So our representation is Viking invasion on Shetland, and so we're actually trying our best to convey the Vikings invading the untouched Shetland kind of thing. So what we're actually doing, we're starting out with 36 players, 36 fiddlers out, doing a formation that's representing just that, an untouched Shetland. So nice, pretty gentle tune, quite a wad of hawser. Of course, hawser being a rope on a sailing boat, so we reference to the sea. And this is the untouched Shetland, and then the Vikings invade, and there's 24 of us that come in, 12 playing and 12 non-playing Vikings carrying torches, and we have an absolutely beautiful longship called the Merry Dancer that arrives over the drawbridge to the castle.
Wow.
We have further 2 Vikings, so that's by Dan, that's 14 actual non-playing Vikings and 12 fiddlers that are dressed in the same outfits, and we weave our way through the 36 that are out there representing the invasion, and then we kind of come to realise that our music and our cultures is not that different, and we can join together, and all the Shetlanders join in with the Vikings, and we finish up the formation going around the galley, and she actually does go up in light as well. So managed to get the special effects into the long ship to have her actually go on.
That's really special. That's really nice.
So yes, it's the most flame-proof wooden boat you would ever find, because it needs to last 25 shows. We can't let her burn.
Yeah, I like that's like the Skrallings meet the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
That's lovely. I always really appreciated what David Allfrey does with the tattoo, because by incorporating Shetland, it's like he knew very well what Shetland's about. I suppose he's been to Shetland, but he knew the Norse traditions, that kind of culture. And I always thought it's brilliantly represented on the castle, because during each act they project images on the castle that relate to that. And I remember in the first year, at one point I turned around, well, because we were made I wasn't turning around out of choice.
It's part of the formation.
It's part of the formation, and I noticed on the castle was all these like carvings from like the different archaeological finds in Shetland.
That's right, yes.
And I was like, yes, they've got it right. They're not. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but so often we're like, not in the tattoo, but so often Shetlanders can just be like, oh, you're Scottish, here's tartan. But the tattoo knows.
They're actually aware that we feel that we're a county almost in our own right, and that yes, when it comes to it, we are under Scottish rule kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're part of Scotland.
Yeah.
But we really feel that we're Shetlanders.
Yeah.
And there's such a strong Scandinavian history that's very important to us as well, kind of thing. So they really do. they really do research what they're doing. I mean, I have to be honest, I have not seen all the graphics that's on the castle this time, but as you say, as we turn around information, you get to see bits. To be honest, I'm leading in one of the sections of Vikings, so I'm actually kind of concentrating on where I'm going, and I'm not really, as yet, still no kind of lifted my eye to look at the castle and what all is on there. But having seen some bits on social media, it's just beautiful waves, and then when the longship comes in, the castle goes on fire when she goes on fire, and it's just amazing what they've actually done, how they've been able to tie that two things together. Other things that we go into play, I mean, there's some amazing graphics out there, really amazing graphics on the castle, because the castle, I mean, obviously it's a building, it's not a flat surface, and it's just remarkable how they've actually been able to utilise that to actually make the graphics even more dramatic. Yeah,
very much. It's brilliant. And yeah, that's another good point as well, because you don't just play the Shetland set.
No.
You play a lot.
We do play quite a lot. I mean, last year's show, the 2016 show, we actually had about 40 minutes of music to play. That's a lot to ask folk to memorise, and a lot of that is actually more orchestral string lines as it is tunes. If we're lucky, we'll get tunes to play for the dancers, because it will be laid by pipers. So yes, you have the element of the fact that you're going to be in B flat and E flat, or some kind of bizarre minor like an F minor or a C minor or something, but at least it's tunes, and it's tunes that we're used to. But for everything else, you're actually a string section, and that was referred to actually last year. I was really taken with that on Radio 2 in the early morning programme, when they usually have a minister in doing a kind of talk for the day, and he said that him and his wife had been watching the highlights of the tattoo on television and just couldn't believe when the string section came in, and I was like, oh wow, that's what we've just been referred to the nation as a string section. But we collaborate with other bands, and that's actually it's really good. It's pulled on an awful, I know for my part, it's pulled on my playing, because I've had to really think about a lot of the technical side of the actual music and how to be able to play it, because it's not all tunes, and it's certainly not all in first position. You're having to do a lot of position changing and a lot of like phrasing and bowing and what have you, kind of to actually put across what's on the page, kind of thing. And so this year we had probably a similar amount of music, but we had slightly less collaboration in terms of going in with different acts. We practically play the entire finale this year.
Wow.
So that means that the finale for us is really very, very busy. We have our own act. It's the first time that we're on the Esplanade, and that's back to back with the dancers, and that's a lovely innovative piece of music written by Piper Finlay MacDonald, and we're hoping that he'll be appearing with us next week, so we're really looking forward to that, and that two's together. And then we do play the second item for the mass pipes and drums is a sort of kind of gentle look to Bonnie Prince Charlie and the Skyboat song in Caledonia.
Oh, it says that a nice sweet.
Yeah, it's a lovely kind of that sort of moment. The chilled moment kind of thing, the slow tune and the chilled moment.
With a few dancers.
Yes, there's 16 dancers, and there's actually just 16 of the fiddlers that are taking part in that, because it's more low key. It's the mass pipes and drums second entry, and then we're in for the finale. And as I say, the finale is we're practically playing everything there. Other than the march for the honour guard, we play the rest. So
that's when you have the soldiers walk right past you and you hold your fiddle close to you.
Yes, and you duck in, because when they're marching down, they're going to stop for absolutely nothing. So if you're in the way, it's man down.
So do you have any highlights so far from this year?
I think, to be absolutely honest, the highlight for me is our own act. I'm so proud of how that has come together, so chuffed with how it's being received. Absolutely indebted to Scott Loban for the South Mainland Uphill Committee. He has literally organised and taken charge and taken care of everything Viking, and that's been a huge help to me. It's meant that I could kind of get on with what I do best, which is the music element of things. And yes, I've had to meet with him and we've had to discuss things, but he has really taken care of all the Viking element, and to see them out there, and I king how proud he is of how things has come together. he's also been giving us a lot of like marching drills, so that's now been commented on, that we're putting the pipers to shame. So we're obviously getting better.
And I'm not in it this year. What does that say about me?
Well, if he gets back in among, we still have to be able to march in time.
So is that actually, this is maybe a silly question, but does that mean the folk who are representing the Vikings, is that folk who've come for the whole month to be Vikings?
No, they're not all been able to come for the whole month, but what we have been able to do, and what again an element of our act that I'm really enjoying, is the fact that we've been able to ask family members, other fiddlers, to come and be Vikings.
Oh, that's so
nice. For instance, we actually have like Alison Anderson, who's been here the 3 previous tattoos, on her own playing.
Yeah.
She's got her daughter Elena on fiddle.
I saw her in the photo.
And she's got Steve, her husband, and Reese, her son, in as Vikings. So we can put out an entire family, and we're able to do exactly the same. We, Rod and Susan Kay and their father, 3 lasses are playing fiddle, and Peter is a Viking as well. So we've got Mum and Dad and Peter as Vikings, and Sarah, Rachel and Kirsten as players.
Imagine telling folks like, oh yeah, I'm in the tattoo. What are you? A Viking?
Exactly, yes. And I look at Yelena, who's 11, and I think, crikey, when I was 11, I was getting a new frock to play in the Garrison Theatre in Lerwick, thinking that was like the highlight of my life so far, and for Yelena, she's putting on a Viking costume to play at Edinburgh Castle. And that's quite something to have on your CV.
She's
already.
A brilliant fiddler though. I saw her in the front row of the finale. She's in the front next to Alison. Yeah. Brilliant. That's so good, and that's a nice thing as well about Hjaltibonhoga, like the Shetland group, is how inclusive it is. And it's been mentioned before, it's that Hjaltibonhoga has all ages.
It is all ages, yeah. I mean, as I say, Yelena's our youngest one this time, and it's a pleasure to hear. I never keen she's here. She's here with mum and dad, and it's just lovely to see them as a family being able to this time together. But we also have folk joining was new. As I said earlier, the only pressure on was new was the amount of things we're getting involved in. Having new being branded as part of the tattoo. We now have our own logo, which has come from the Royal Edinburgh Military
I'd like to
Tattoo.
see it.
Oh, I just findy the costume so you can see it. It's and that we've used that. Scots used that kind of on our longship, on their shields, on their X's. So it's lovely. The whole thing kind of ties together that detail, down to the fact that all us lasses are wearing Viking axes as ear
I noticed they're really bonny.
So it is down to the detail, but the pressure now to find fiddle players is because we are becoming busier and busier and busier. And that in itself is a huge honour to kind of, not only have we come for what I believe was once, but now we really are in there, and we really are now part of the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo as a branded business. So we now have like guests at Hjaltibonhoga. Having met we fiddle players in Melbourne and in Wellington, and realising that if we were going to be doing 2 tattoos a year, which is Brigadier David Allfrey's ambition.
2 tattoos a year?
Yes, he has that ambition. To obviously Edinburgh is August, and that will remain as every year. But his ambition is to have an overseas one in the February each year as well.
Every year?
Yep, that's what he's aiming for. Not yet, that'll not happen for a couple of years yet, but the next time that's going to happen, he's looking towards China in 2020.
Wow.
And after 2020 he wants that to become every year, that there will be a February tattoo somewhere.
That was one of the best trips of my entire life.
Was the
New Zealand, Australia.
And so we knew, and having met that fiddle players and realising that it's going to, Shetland has a lot of fiddle players, but folk can only give up so much time voluntarily, and I totally appreciate that. So we've opened up this guests to Hjaltibonhoga, and it's meant that we've had folk that we met in Melbourne, in Wellington, come to Edinburgh and be able to take part in the tattoo here as part of our group. We also have players for Orkney and for the Scottish mainland as well, so it's starting to broaden.
Yeah.
However, the main cohort is, and will, for as long as I can certainly manage it, and that would be my ambition, the main cohort would come for Shetland.
Yeah.
And anybody joining us appears as the Shetland fiddlers, Hjaltibonhoga, kind of thing. And it's just that we're able now to kind of spread our net that pretty bit further and get folk, what wouldn't want to play outside Edinburgh Castle, really, kind of thing. So that folk are able to come back to us now and join in the tattoo here.
So what other trips do you have? Do more trips coming up this year for Hjaltibonhoga?
Well, we do. We have one actually. There's a trip for 8 players going to Sardinia an art festival
Wow.
during the last week of the tattoo, so that's been a no pressure one to organise, but delighted that there's 8 folk that's been willing to go and do that. So that's actually an invitation come through Shetland Islands Council. There'll be artists going out and musicians going out to this festival in Sardinia, so that's happening during it's kind of over the last weekend I was being here in Edinburgh. And then there is an Edinburgh tattoo trip on for us in September. We'll only be home for about 2.5 weeks, and then it's Dusseldorf. It's a new festival, a new tattoo. It's the first one, and therefore have invited an act from Edinburgh. So the act from Edinburgh is pipers, dancers, and fiddlers.
That's brilliant.
And we will be the last act in the show. So we are top of the bill.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's
wow.
just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that Dusseldorf would be amazing.
It's a long weekend. It's just a single show, but nonetheless, what an honour to go for 40 fiddlers that stood as tightly closed as a group of 40, standing there like a tiny postage stamp on the middle of the Esplanade in 2014, to now be taken part in bigger formations and to be, as I say, branded alongside the pipers and the dancers, and to go at Brigadier David Allfrey. You are the third pillar of the tattoo. So it's just absolutely terrific.
That's amazing.
Kind of pinch yourself to believe it's happened, kind of thing.
It's also really exciting because it's just taken, like, fiddle music's always had a strong popularity, and but this has taken it to such a huge worldwide audience.
Well, when you think of what you're playing to, you're playing to a live audience in nearly 9,000 each show. So it just takes us 3 shows and we've cracked the population of Shetland. Okay, and by the time you've done the 3rd show, and we have 25 shows. So by the time we hit 25 shows, we're no far off 250,000 folk live.
Yeah.
And that's quite incredible when you think of how many folk you've actually played to live. Now, they're going to be filming on their phones, on their iPads, whatever, taking that home, showing that to family members. So that's spreading the word. The BBC comes in week 3, so that's what we face come Monday. The BBC will come in on week 3, and they film 3 different lengths of the show. It's edited to 3 different lengths for different purposes worldwide. And that viewing, the BBC viewing public is in the regions of 3 billion. So
it's like half the world's population.
So we've just managed
billion
to tack this tiny county that has this 300-year tradition of fiddle playing. We've managed to tack that very, very tiny speck on the map and put it practically around the world.
Well done, Margaret.
And it's value for money, because at the end of the day it's a voluntary group. It's a case that we're no funded. We do all the funding ourselves. There's a membership fee. There's a contribution towards travel for any trips we do for the folk that are taking part, and the rest we just fundraise. The rest we just graft for. And so it is something to be very, very proud of.
It's really funny though. I was speaking from experience when I did the full month, although I missed the last couple of days because I had to go home for a prior engagement. But when I did the full month, then you pay towards your travel and that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because you worked really hard for the tattoo, but it feels like a holiday. Even though you're training, even though you're getting to the show every night, even when it's really hard, it's still so much fun. Like there's so much fun among the cast,
and I think it's what keeps us all going. Because if it was as serious as what it might look, because it's military bands, when you watch the actual highlights on telly, there's nobody maybe looking like they're having fun, because that's just not how they are. They're standing very straight, very still, very very straight faced, as well as tall and straight kind of thing. But once we're off the show, that's when you make your friends, and you fin folk from all over the world, and you end up in correspondence with them and what have you. So it's hard work. There's no doubting that. But for as long as I'm able, I'll be coming here for the tattoo. There's no question, because it is just, as you say, so much fun. You're meeting in with like-minded folk. You're having a really, really good time. We like-minded folk. You're taking part in what has to be one of the most wonderful shows on earth, which sounds a bit dramatic, but it really, really is.
No, it is.
And I think for anybody, we knew we kind of Shetlanders that have been coming here for years, but we now kind of, because of Hjaltibonhoga's involvement, there's more and more Shetlanders coming to see it. And there's nobody that watches it and thinks they've had a poor night.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I mean,
do you hear the Shetlanders when they're
you can hear when Hjalti comes out, you can hear the shouts of the Shetlanders, which is really great. And we try our best to find out when Shetlanders are in and where they're sitting, so you can get a feel for what section of the stadium they're actually going to be in. But no, you definitely can. If there's a cohort of Shetlanders in, use that mechanic when we come out. That's
nice. And also, well, you've been here, although you've been super busy. But have you been to any fringe shows or anything yet?
I haven't made it out to Pollock Halls yet. This is nearly 2 weeks. I've managed to get across the road for a lunch, and that's just about it.
Yeah.
Because there's things to deal with almost on a daily basis, and especially with these 2 trips coming up, it's meant that there's still all the organisation of that to be going ahead. And so it really is. Hjalti can be just about like a full-time job. You're having to. Be it production meetings, be it welfare meetings, there are all the things that goes on that's tattoo based, and then there's also, as I say, there's other 2 trips on the go as well. So
is there outreach as well this year? Because
yes,
often the tattoo plays in another city during the day.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of outreaches. We have Perth on a week on Sunday, and there'll be a visit for some players to Holyrood as well next week.
Nice. Oh, fancy.
So yeah, there's bits and pieces going on.
Well, you're so busy, so thank you so much for speaking to us today.
It's an absolute pleasure.
It's amazing to see what you're doing for fiddle playing, and I'm personally really grateful because I've been part of the tattoo. And if any fiddlers are interested and this is what you want to do in the future, get in touch with Margaret.
Absolutely, look up our website.
It's genuinely hands down best experience of my life has been playing in the tattoo, and then standing in the finale. Oh, I could creep right now thinking about it.
The pride that I feel, and I think it usually. I say usually because we are getting to be old hands at this, but when we hit the finish of the first show and the penny almost drops, we've done a show, everything good, perfectly fine, the music was excellent, and that's when I can get just about the point of emotion, because it's a case of, my goodness, this amateur group has pulled out the stops, and they're standing, and this year we are standing right in front of Lieutenant Colonel Nick Grace of the Royal Marines, who is the conductor to the Queen. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger,
no,
really.
It doesn't.
So it's again, you watch things like the Queen's birthday on telly, the show for Windsor, the Remembrance Service, things like that, and you look and you thought, oh, I stood in front of him. Yeah, he's conducted me. Yeah. Wow.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's really nice to hear stories as well from inside the tattoo. And from yourself as well, and how you're getting on. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Marilyn.
And thanks for listening to the Shetland Times podcast. I've been speaking to Margaret, and I'm Marilyn.